Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Pressing Matters. This is episode number 4. I am your host, Daniel Torres. I hope everyone's having a great week so far. I hope everyone is enjoying so far the Plug Talk Sports Network. Hope you guys enjoyed our show all together, Plug Talk Sports Live on Monday. Tuesday, we had a great sideline episode. Of course, last night, we had a great courtside episode debuted on the network. And then here we are, another episode of Pressing Matters. I really hope that you guys enjoyed episode number 3 last week with Alex Winley. She's just a fantastic journalist covering whether it's NYCFC, Inter Miami, or anything really Major League Soccer and women's soccer. She was great to have on. She's always very open to being on any of our shows, any of our networks to talk soccer. So very grateful for Alex and proud of everything that she is doing with her career. But we're in another week of Pressing Matters, and we have 3 items on the agenda today. And of course, our usual team of the week. And we're going to get into our first matters of business here. And it is something that was announced last week. If you guys didn't know, I was at the Sports Summit USA conference. It was in Coconut Grove at a venue called The Hangar. And there was so many great speakers, so many people from around the sports industry. You know, we had things like a conference about Sail GP. We had talks about the Pickleball World Cup, the inaugural Pickleball World Cup that was unveiled. We had, panels about women in sports. It was great. It was a lot of soccer being discussed. And that is because the FIFA World Cup is in the United States and is in Miami next year, right around the corner in 2026. And the first agenda, at this conference, the president of La Liga, Javier Tebas, was present. He did give a speech, and in his speech, in his talk, he announced something that had been in speculation for quite some time now. We know UEFA approved it, FIFA approved it, and now it's coming to reality. There was a lot of criticism. We're going to get into it, and that is that there will be a La Liga regular season match right here in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. December 20th is the date. Remember that, December 20th. Just in case you guys want to get tickets. And it is the match between Futbol Club Barcelona and Villarreal. Again, regular season La Liga match happening right here in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. He announced that. I was in the room. I was able to see it live happening and getting the confirmation for the first time straight from the president that match would indeed be taking place here in South Florida. Here are my thoughts on it. It's very hard because a lot of the Spaniards are saying, no, we don't want regular season matches from our league to be being played in other countries. We already have the Supercopa de España, which is the Spanish Super Cup, which used to be within the country. It used to be 2-leg games, home and away. That has changed in the Spanish Super Cup. Spanish Super Cup is now in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, and they're just single elimination matches, semifinal and final. And, well, now we have La Liga games. They're going to be abroad, just one this season. But Javier Tebas said that he wants to get to a point where every La Liga season there is one La Liga regular season match abroad. He did say that the Clásico between Real Madrid and Futbol Club Barcelona will not be one of those matches during the regular season. That will always be at Spotify Camp Nou or Santiago Bernabeu. That will not be abroad. They will keep that for the preseason. I know the last, I would say, 5 years, they've had a Clásico preseason. I've been to a lot of them, whether it was in Dallas, Las Vegas, right here in Miami. that match, that fixture in the regular season will not be an international abroad match. So if you want to see that one in the regular season, you're going to have to go to Spain to see it in El Camp Nou or Santiago Bernabeu. But one regular season match a year is the goal for Javier Tebas in La Liga to have it abroad internationally. So he did bring up a good point. He said the Americans with the NBA, the NFL, and a little bit of MLB now have infiltrated Europe and has spread their, American culture, the American game. We see the NFL, which they had a great speech at the Sports Summit USA, how they dominate the market and they pretty much own days of the week, right? Sunday football, Monday night football, Thursday night football. They want to have 16 international games eventually, meaning one game out of each week in the NFL season would be an international game. We've seen London this year, Brazil. We're having one, which Javier Tebas brought up in his speech. They're using one of our stadiums in La Liga, the Santiago Bernabeu, is going to have the Miami Dolphins play in Madrid, Spain. So he said the Americans have infiltrated Europe with the NFL, NBA, some MLB games, and they've brought their American culture, the American sport, to our continent. Why can't I, as the president of La Liga, bring the Spanish culture and the Spanish game? Why can't I bring it internationally to another country and spread the game of soccer, spread the Spanish, style soccer, the Spanish league, the Spanish culture, what have you? Why can't I do that? What is so wrong with it and trying to spread the game internationally and the brand of, some of these teams? He talked about, look, in Miami, and this is a good question that the moderator brought up. In Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, we know that Football Club Barcelona is going to dominate Hard Rock Stadium with its fans. Football Club Barcelona is a global brand. And so he was asked, what does this do for Villarreal fans? What is this? This is technically a home match for them. It's not going to be played at La Ceramica. It's now being played in Miami. And it's basically going to be, even though, again, it's a home match, an away match for them because Hard Rock Stadium is going to be filled with Football Club Barcelona fans. And people from Spain who are Villarreal fans, are they even going to be able to have people travel to Miami to represent Villarreal? And well, his answer to that was, this is the point of all this. We want to give chances to clubs like Villarreal that are not as big as, say, Real Madrid or Atletico de Madrid or Football Club Barcelona to expand their brand globally. And apparently, from what he said that they do have in place, and they have talked to the clubs, supporters that will be traveling from Spain to Miami for this game. That's what Javier Tebas said. Whether that's true or not, we shall see come December 20th. But the way I look at it, do I want regular season games to be played internationally? If I think about it from a player perspective, which, Frankie de Jong from Football Club Barcelona said, this is a nightmare. Now in the regular season, we have to fly all the way to Miami in the United States, 9-hour flight, 10-hour flight, what have you, to play this match. He was strong opposed to this happening. And again, me personally, it is a way to market from a business perspective. It is a way to market your game. It's a way to get more revenue. It is a way to grow the game. We've seen in the sport of soccer where clubs or national teams have built foundations in other countries. If we look at Argentina, Argentine Federation, which Chiqui Tapia, president of the AFA, spoke at Sports Summit USA. Argentina has put a base in Miami for their national team, right? And you can't get that done without having Argentina play matches in the United States or right here in Miami, which we're going to get into. Argentina played here twice this past week in the international window. But that can't happen without the exposure of the teams in these different countries, right? So from a business perspective, I could see it, being successful that you bring your teams over for exposure. And again, for a club like Villarreal, who, yes, if you follow La Liga or soccer carefully, like you will know that Villarreal is a team in Spain. It's from La Liga. But are they really a world-known global brand? Are they dominating the markets? Are they dominating in jersey sales? Are they dominating in ticket sales? No. That's a smaller market. We all know out of Spain, the teams that dominate the markets globally is Football Club Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico de Madrid, who really, in, I would say, the last decade has come, risen up, has been on the come up. They've won La Liga, they've made 2 Champions League finals, they got a brand new stadium. That's brand exposure. Obviously, they've been to preseason in the United States, played with Real Madrid in New York. That was a big match. This is a chance for a club like Villarreal to expand business-wise and open the market and expose fans to what Villarreal is, right? And so from a business perspective, yes, I agree with it to expand the game. We all know soccer is a global game. We know that Miami is going to host World Cup games at Hard Rock Stadium. We know that Miami has become now even more of a soccer community, obviously with Inter Miami and Lionel Messi being here. This is a great place to build off of that. You can argue, let's put Villarreal and Barcelona in a place that nobody really knows, but obviously they want to sell tickets. They want to have this be a successful regular season match. So they're going to put it in a place that they know it's going to work. From the player perspective, I get it. You're in a groove. You are in the middle of the regular season, and now they're telling you that you have to, fly all the way to the United States in the middle of the season to play a regular season match for something that is just, has players see it for money for the league, for money for President, Javier Tebas. You already travel so much, in the off season when you're in the preseason tour, throughout the year, if you're in the UEFA Champions League, UEFA Europa League, you already travel a lot. And now you're adding a 9-hour flight to that to play this international match that's part of the regular season, in which players might see this as it makes no sense. So, obviously clubs that participated, none of these clubs, Villarreal or Football Club Barcelona, participated in the FIFA Club World Cup this past summer, but those teams were gassed out from traveling, and they had just ended their previous season, and then pretty much not a lot of time off between, when this season started. But, if they continue this on and, you have tournaments in the summer, we've got the World Cup coming next summer, traveling fatigue is something that the players talk about, they worry about. And with so many matches that they have and the international breaks, it's a lot of overexposure, a lot of overexertion from your body physically, and then having to do such a long flight over. I get it from the player's perspective. I see it both sides. So my opinion on that, really, I can't lean on either side and tell you I'm on this cause. I stand with this cause greatly, because honestly, I see both sides of the argument. So that is the situation that is going on with Spain and La Liga, but UEFA has approved it. FIFA has approved it. The Spanish Federation has approved it. So at this point, players, all they can do is make their voices heard. but it is happening. December 20th, right here in Miami, Hard Rock Stadium, a regular season La Liga match between Football Club Barcelona and Villarreal. You guys can go check that out. I'm not sure if tickets are out just yet. I know there is information out, so you guys can search for that online and check it out. And if you guys have interest, I know I have friends. I won't be going. If I do go, I'm going for Villarreal. You guys know I'm not a Football Club Barcelona fan. You know, I hate them. You guys know I'm a diehard Real Madrid fan. So I don't think I will be going. But if, I have friends that are Barcelona fans. So this is for you guys. Go online, get some information, get your tickets. December 20th. It's happening. So we move on to our second subject, our second pressing matter here, and is Lionel Messi makes MLS history being the first player to record 9 multi-goal games in one season. So Lionel Messi, honestly, is en route right now. We know that this Sunday is decision day. It's the final game of the regular season. Inter Miami will be visiting Nashville SC. That'll be an interesting match. You know, Nashville SC has always had the number of Inter Miami. We know that Nashville SC, even though they've struggled this season, they're not an easy team to play against. Obviously, Inter Miami is going to the playoffs. They already clinched their spot. But for Inter Miami right now, it is about seeding. So there's still one more match. We know that Lionel Messi did not play for Argentina one of the games against Venezuela, which was here at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, because he wanted to play that Saturday match for Inter Miami against Atlanta United. That was at home at Chase Stadium. And for two reasons. One, he wants to continue to help his team in the cause for seeding. They currently sit third in the Eastern Conference right now. And then obviously we know that he wants to win that Golden Boot. He wants to lead, the race for that title, and wants to put himself in a chance to win the MLS MVP for the second straight year, which hasn't been done. And listen, we all know, I said it with Alex Winley, our last episode, episode 3, that when Messi's on the field for Inter Miami and he makes magic, as Messi would do, Inter Miami wins. When he's not on the field or he's having an off game, we see Miami draw or lose. But for Messi to make this history in the league, it's great for the league. Obviously, we know that there's people, and I have my own opinions on how Messi got here and how the league markets Messi and everything they do for Messi. I know there's a lot of people outside of South Florida around the league that have many opinions on that. I have my own opinion on that. That's for another day, whole other, episode. But we see that Messi could get the MLS MVP for the second straight year. And if he does this year, to be honest with you, I think he's more deserving this year than he was last year. Didn't lead in goals last year. Didn't lead in assists last year. So last year was kind of a head scratcher, and you kind of thought to yourself, if he's not leading in those categories, why did he win MVP? And someone, I forgot who I had the conversation with, someone told me, oh, well, because they gave it to him because how he can contribute to a game. Fine. I respect that. We all know how Messi can change a game and how he contributes to his team. But then we open the basis of what is the award based on? What is the merit to win this award? And I think that we have seen that as well with the Ballon d'Or. What does it take to win the Ballon d'Or? What are the requirements? For me, I think it's about performance. If you're leading in goals or you're leading in assists, goal contributions, that's a pretty damn good requirement, I think, that you would have to win MLS MVP or win any league MVP. So last year, wasn't leading in goals, wasn't leading in assists, and he won MVP. That one I did not agree with. I scratched my head. This one I definitely do think if he ends up, winning the Golden Boot, having the most goals. I do think that he deserves to win MLS MVP. But nonetheless, if he does, it'll be back-to-back MLS MVPs, and he'll just continue to create, league history on the personal term. Obviously, with the club heading towards the MLS playoffs, we'll talk about that next week once we know who the opponent is for Inter Miami in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. We'll talk about that. We'll get into that more next week. But for himself, he just continues to grow his brand. Not that it needs growing globally, honestly, but continues to grow his brand in the United States and help capture younger fans that are, watching Lionel Messi and his play and inspire the younger American generation who watch this league. So, I want to say congratulations first to Messi for making that MLS history, being the first player to record 9 multi-goal games in one season. I think that he has helped Inter Miami get over the hump of so many games this year that I think, I look at him and say, wow, if Messi doesn't step up and be Messi, Inter Miami is getting a draw or they're losing this game. And there's been a lot of games like that. There's been a lot of matches like that this season that the points could have gone the other way and would have left Miami in a place where they would be a lot different than what it is today. So again, congratulations to Lionel Messi for making that league history, accomplishment. Third item of business. We talked about earlier, Argentina played in Miami twice this week. It was only supposed to be once. Why? Because Argentina versus Puerto Rico was supposed to be in Chicago. So we all know, and not to get too political, we'll touch base upon it a little bit to explain everything, but we all know that President Trump and his administration in the United States is cleaning up cities, whether it's been Washington, D.C., Memphis, Chicago, trying to do Los Angeles. I'm sure Seattle, Portland will be in there at some point. But a lot of protests going on in Chicago about this, the rift between the mayor and President Trump and between the governor and President Trump, has people protesting about ICE and not wanting to have the National Guard deployed into their city to get cleaned up. So a lot of tension and protests going on. So the FAA and Puerto Rico, they said, we're moving this game from Chicago. We don't want fans to be caught up in all that. They moved it from Chicago right here to Miami. They played in Shea Stadium against Puerto Rico. We know that there was a report out there that said that the game was not moved from Chicago to Miami because of those political reasons. Someone stated and reported that it was moved because of low ticket sales. That's hard to believe. Yes, they're playing a not a good game against Puerto Rico. I mean, who wants to? I personally would not buy a ticket to watch Argentina against Puerto Rico. It's just like a couple years ago here when Spain had become world champions. They had a game in Miami of Spain against Haiti. That's people went because they wanted to see the world champion Spain. But it's hard to buy because when you have Argentina in town, you have possibly Lionel Messi playing. That's box office for people. People want to pay and see that, and they want to see the world champions Argentina. So it's hard to kind of buy that report, but at the same time, I kind of get it. It's a game against Puerto Rico. It's not, in a way, it's not box office. So that's a report out there. It could or could not be true, but the main reason was due to protests, and they again moved it to Shea Stadium, which it was reasonable for the Argentinian national team because they were already here. They had played Venezuela at Hard Rock Stadium on Friday night. So, and they've been training at the Inter Miami training facility. So it wasn't much of a big deal for them. They stayed here comfortable, practicing in Miami, had both games, knocked it out in the international window in Miami. But kind of revolving around this topic, we see that President Trump has said if there's any city who is unsafe come the Olympics or the FIFA World Cup next summer, he will ask to have those host cities removed or switched to another city. We see that the vice president of FIFA came out and said, not so fast. This is not President Trump's call. This is not the U.S. government's call. This is FIFA's tournament. We make that call. And he had a very interesting quote that upset Republicans that said, FIFA, or football, should I say, will survive their regime, calling President Trump's administration a regime which is usually used for a dictatorship or communism. This is funny. There was no statement from Gianni Infantino on that, who has been in the White House already many times. We saw him on the stage of the FIFA Club World Cup with President Trump when Chelsea lived the trophy at New York, New Jersey MetLife Stadium, which is hosting the final for the World Cup. And President Trump has, kind of hammered down on places like San Francisco, Seattle, Boston, all Democratic-run cities, obviously, that have host venues for the FIFA World Cup. And today, they retract their statement, and I have it right here. And FIFA retracts their statement and says, FIFA is backing down, and this is from Front Office Sports, FIFA is backing down from its stance that President Trump cannot move World Cup matches from U.S. cities. After saying he lacked jurisdiction, the organization now suggests Trump could shift matches out of cities he deems unsafe. Folks, now digest this. We've got people volunteering. They're signing up for volunteers in certain cities. The draw is in December. The World Cup starts in June. This is going to have to be a quick call and a quick decision because there's a lot of organization that goes into this. You can't have volunteers apply, sign up, have their volunteer tryouts, and uniforms are distributed and whatnot, and then be told, we're not having a World Cup game here anymore in this city. These decisions on these cities, if it is going to be done by the Trump administration and FIFA to deem that these cities are unsafe to hold matches, it needs to be made very soon and very quickly. Now, I'm not into the whole organization process, or I do know that this does take a long time to organize. You know, they've made songs for each city. They've made posters for each city. It would be a huge letdown for some of those cities like San Francisco, Seattle, Boston, who have been waiting for this moment. The United States has not hosted a World Cup since 1994. And after 2026, who knows when the U.S. will get to host another World Cup. So I do think that this puts a lot of pressure on governors, mayors, senators, representatives to clean up their cities before the administration and FIFA make a decision to remove cities. I don't know if they'll actually do it. But from that statement we just read from Front Office Sports about FIFA with the Trump administration, it sounds serious. I can't lie. It sounds serious. And that's my advice to governors, mayors, politicians from these states, from these cities, is you better do something if you want to keep your World Cup game or games at your venue, because FIFA is now complying with the Trump administration on this issue. And it gets touchy, right? Because FIFA says, no, this is, at first they said, this is our tournament. We run this. But yet again, you are in the country, right? FIFA doesn't really get any jurisdiction over an entire federal government. They would probably like to think so. But at the end of the day, they really don't get any jurisdiction over any federal government from any country. So the vice president spoke, and he said that the vice president of FIFA, he was the one that said that football will survive this regime. There was no apology for it. But quiet throughout the entire process was Gianni Infantino, president of FIFA. He was just at the peace summit where President Trump signed to end the war between Israel and Hamas. And I'm sure they maybe spoke a little bit. I'm sure that they have spoken in the meantime about this situation. And now FIFA has kind of recanted and retracted their statements on that and are now complying with the Trump administration on this issue. So, again, mayors, governors, politicians, senators, whatever you are, House of Representatives, ambassadors, do something. You want to keep your World Cup game? Do something, because now it looks like FIFA and the United States federal government are together on deeming whether the cities are safe or not to host these matches. And obviously, from a federal government perspective, you're inviting the world to your country. You want to keep everybody who's coming to this World Cup safe, to enjoy the events, the fan zones. You want to keep it safe. So from their perspective, anything they feel is not meeting up to requirements to make this a safe experience for fans from all over the world, countries coming from all over to the United States. If it's not safe, we will pull the plug. Last order of business, I'm adding this because it falls along with our topics, is people are extremely frustrated with the way that FIFA has handled the ticketing process and the prices of tickets. We saw a complaint from the English Federation, who just qualified, by the way, this past week to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So congratulations to the Three Lions on qualifying once again. Had a successful 2022 FIFA World Cup. Obviously, they didn't win, but made it to semifinal. And of course, we have our quarterfinal, should I say. We have them making all the way to the Euro final against Spain. They lost that one. But they complained. The Federation complained, saying, look, our fans are present. We have a bunch of fans that are present through the history of the World Cup. And we're going to be very upset if our fans cannot afford to be at this World Cup. This World Cup being expanded. It won't be round of 16. There'll be round of 32. Then to round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, final, what have you. They were upset about the prices. This is going to be probably the most expensive FIFA World Cup to date. You know, we saw 2022 in Qatar was pricey. The prices, raised for Qatar, but nothing like we're seeing in the United States. And then just how hard it is to get a ticket, the process that FIFA puts you through to be able to acquire a ticket is extremely impossible. I've been through the process myself. And I saw CBS Sports Golazo, their program, they're saying you're getting a lot of corporate, people buying up all these tickets, that they're concerned that the stadiums are not going to be filled with fans, but more of corporate people, and it's not going to have that football, that soccer atmosphere. That's what, CBS Sports Golazo was saying what they were worried about, and that, again, that this event, the World Cup, is for the fans, and that it needs to be more accessible and easier to obtain tickets for the fans. Although I do agree this tournament is for the fans, we all know that FIFA cares about money. We all know how they run. We all know the things that we have seen in news and headlines and lawsuits and corruption and bribery and warrants out for heads of, federations. We all know how that works. We saw what happened in 2014 in Brazil and how Qatar ended up with the World Cup in 2022. We all know that this is a very big cash grab for FIFA. And they said that these are the starting prices and that it will continue to go up, not down, but up. And that really bothered people. Like, we can't even afford what it is right now at the standard. So if we can't afford what's right now, what makes you think we're going to afford what's coming and you guys are going to raise the prices? I do think, despite people saying that, I think this will be a full World Cup. I think that people will fill the stadiums despite the complaints, because at the end of the day, it's the FIFA World Cup and people are going to want to go. Whether we see a larger demonstration, a larger protest, that is remain to be seen. But I agree. I think this process from FIFA has been frustrating. It's extremely difficult to get tickets. They force you to do it FIFA's way. You have to make a FIFA account. You have to apply to so many things, and they want you to use a FIFA currency, a token, a digital token that you can for these games. And then obviously it says on there, which is absolutely crazy, I'm not making this up, it says if you get 2 tickets, for example, they can't promise you, and let's say you paid $500, they can't promise you, they select your seats, and they can't promise you paid $500 where you're going to be up close or in the nosebleed section, and they can't promise you that you will be sitting next to, the person that you bought tickets with, those 2 tickets. It can't promise you that those 2 tickets will be seated together, which is, you think about it, it's crazy. Let's say you paid $500 and you get 50-yard line seats, and let's say I paid $500 and I'm all the way in nosebleed. That's absolutely insane to think about, but that is literally the situation right now with the tickets. And I believe first phase emails just went out to people who were rejected and couldn't get tickets. Those emails just went out. But final segment of the show, it's time for the team of the week. Your team of the week is Austria men's national team. They have qualified for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. They did it in style. They played San Marino in the European qualifiers, which, by the way, San Marino still has a chance to qualify for the World Cup. But Austria absolutely destroys, and I say destroys San Marino 10-0. Obviously, we know one of the captains, David Alaba, who plays for Real Madrid, was present for the national team. But Austria defeats San Marino 10-0, qualifies for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We know that this was the international window, the last, I would say, week and a half. We know there were some good games. Spain was playing France and Azerbaijan. Brilliant goal from Kylian Mbappe in that match. England, of course, qualifying for the FIFA World Cup, doing it without Jude Bellingham on the pitch, with Thomas Tuchel in charge. But nothing, and I say nothing, in the past week and a half of this international break was more impressive than Austria taking down San Marino 10-0. And for that reason, they are your team of the week. Well, folks, we have come to the end of episode number 4 of Pressing Matters. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that you guys continue to tune in to the Plug Talk Sports Network, not just Pressing Matters, but all the shows that we have in store for you, whether it's our Plug Talk Sports live show on Monday, Sideline on Tuesday, Wednesday, Courtside, of course, Thursday's Pressing Matters Day, Friday, Plug Picks, Saturday, the 5th round, and Sunday, one-timers. Continue, please, just to show the love, and we appreciate every single one of you guys for all the support that you show us at Plug Talk Sports. It's one big family. But hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week for episode number 5 of